Why, hello everybody. It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with Foster Hilt, the Canadian coin wizard, and we are... Taps makes that same face. We are here today, the kickoff of Comic-Con. There are so many events, there are so many parties.
Yeah.
There's sexy nerd parties, there's cruises, there is just
other types of parties.
Absolute degenerate stuff. There's video game stuff. What are you most excited for here? Is it to get your hopefully gold and silver logo? Is it to get a selfie with David and Dan? Is it to get shirts signed? Is it to sign shirts yourself?
That's a good question. I would say that definitely what I'm probably most excited about is just being able to meet a bunch of the fam. I think that that'll be really cool. This is my first event that I've ever been to.
It's true.
So I'm really excited about it. I've seen a lot of the events. The hype at London Decon seemed unreal. Everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. Everyone was hanging out and whatever. So I'm just really looking forward to meeting a bunch of people, I think. And obviously meeting the team at the event will be fun as well. Hopefully they're all there and we get to hang out and meet them. If I'm lucky enough to get a logo card, that would be fantastic. It sounds like they're adding some utility to it, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point as well. But yeah, I'm really trying to go in with no expectations and then just let it kind of surprise me and go from there.
Like me on the SAT in high school. So everyone, if you could all smash that like button right there. I got it.
Oh, you got it?
You're going to hit the dislike. That is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, smashing the thanks button down below, and then the, what's that called?
Oh, okay.
What do I owe the IRS? I don't know. My accountant's being really, really weird.
Uh-oh.
Because it's not my fault that he filed late, and I have to pay $1,000 for this. Like, what the fudge?
Surely Comic-Con is a write-off. I mean, we gotta find a way.
A business expense. Yeah. Potential clients. You ever see that TikTok about this guy? He's gonna do a masterclass on how to pretend you're a business owner, even though you're just spending your dad's money. And it's just like weekend out in Vegas.
Stevie Emerson, I think.
Oh, is that who?
I think so. Yeah.
I just saw it as like weekend out in Vegas on a bender with the boys. No, you're entertaining prospective
Yeah,
clients.
Stevie. I saw that one. Yeah, he's a funny dude. He's a funny dude. That's awesome.
So good. I have a. So this is. I've been going to Comic-Con for like 10 years, and so
yeah, you're an OG. You're a legend.
So there will be people here that'll be like Randy, but they will have zero idea who VeVe is or what VeVe is or what OMI is. And that is something that Aldous Havley had gone on and mentioned the other day, which I wanted to bring up to you. It's a big, fun conspiracy theory.
Oh, I like conspiracy theories.
So this one is not so much to do with the sale of VeVe, because David and Dan have made it crystal clear that they are not selling VeVe anytime soon. But when saying that we were not selling VeVe, we're not selling VeVe, the two other companies that have been left conspicuously absent from that is OMI and the Wendyverse. So somebody asked, like, what would happen if, and this would be great to get a couple billion on the balance sheet, if I'm Disney, and I was just like, okay, instead of just, I think yesterday we had $392,000 in volume, which is nothing. Like, so to preface that, I think we had like 17 million shares of Tesla that were sold yesterday. So that you have like 21 billion being bought and sold on the market versus 300,000 or less than 400,000. So if Disney doesn't want to put in tens of millions of dollars without upping the price, their only option is really just to buy a OMI outright. And that would get, what would that get?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would depend if they were. Now, this is obviously purely hypothetical for everyone that's listening.
Yeah,
we don't know that this is happening, but it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I think if that was to happen, you would figure that they would receive equity in the company in the form of tokens as compensation. Now, where those tokens would come from, you would presume the business development fund, possibly Dan and David having. Yeah, so the business development fund has about 40 billion OMI tokens in it.
They would be the number one, like right there, the number one holder.
It's pretty close. I think technically, yeah, because I guess Dan and David's holdings are separate.
They have like
so
30
they have about 30 each. So yeah,
individual wise, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty incredible. Yeah. So, and then you got to figure that they probably have to give up some, if not all, of their tokens as well as a byproduct. So, it's an interesting conversation, and the reason that I think that it's interesting is because I've always been adamant that it would be very difficult to sell VeVe because VeVe is a marketplace, and because it's a marketplace with so much IP that kind of compete with one another. Like, this is really the first time that we've seen, Marvel and DC kind of in the same platform.
Yeah.
They're meant to be competitors, but they're really working together on the same platform to sell their collectibles. So, I've always been adamant that, people will say like, oh, I think Disney's going to buy VeVe. And I'm like, I don't think so, because then what would DC do? And would they be okay with,
Yeah, and
them essentially, because the licensor fee or the 2.5% fee would generally at that point, you would think, go to Disney. But does DC want Disney making money off of their IP? Probably not, right? So, and like you said, Dan and David have been fairly adamant that, VeVe's not for sale. But, Ecomi, on the other hand, that's kind of like it's an interesting separate entity. Now, at the end of the day, Ecomi still owns VeVe. So if Disney, as an example, bought Ecomi, they're still technically buying VeVe, but maybe with that layer of separation.
It'd be independent.
Yeah, you never know.
Something else I wanted to go over you with, which I thought of it the other day, is if, right now Disney's kind of warring with the DeSantis, that, governor of Florida, because of reasons. And and he's going to make a very good run for 2024 for president. So here's my thinking. Let's say in 24, the next bull market, where Disney doesn't do anything. Disney says, you know what, VeVe, you have too many problems for us to want to even try to buy you right now. We want to make sure, and let's say there's zero effort on Disney's part to even buy any OMI. They just want to focus on, what's at their feet. If DeSantis goes and runs and wins the presidency in 2024, when he starts 2025, and we're at this height of this bull market where you get absolute FOMO, and most likely it's not going to reach $1 at that point. No. It'll probably be, but let's just say it goes to, let's just say $1. And David and Dan go.
It most likely won't go to $1, but let's just say $1.
For fun, or it doesn't even have to. I think it'll go to $1 before, let's say 2030, before the end of it. Let's say DeSantis is a 2-term president. He gets there until 2032. And DeSantis wages a war on Disney, and he starts, Disney starts saying like, oh, you can't have this. It costs, your permit's allowed to do this, not allowed to do it anymore, because Disney's pretty much their own entity in Florida.
Right.
But after he does that, I think it would be very poetic if David and Dan were to start selling, their OMI little by little, and suddenly they have, let's just say, $50 billion that after they sold all their OMI, and they start buying a massive amount of Disney stock. And Disney, let's just say right now, which is about $180 billion market cap.
Oh, okay.
Let's say they buy a quarter of Disney, and then because Disney's revenues at that point, let's say we get these really hawkish people that are like, okay, World War III, and then they disallow streaming because of propaganda, and then Disney stock goes down. We could, and they don't have a lot of cash flow because they have, I think, how many, 40 or 70 billion in debt, 40, so 50 billion in debt.
Okay.
If they have more debt than they do cash, because right now I think they only have 17 billion. Okay. You could, it's possible in this scenario that you see a reverse merger where Disney gets bought up by VeVe and David and Dan own Disney. What do you think of them apples, Foster? Riddle me that, coin wizard.
Guys, sometimes I wish that you were a part of these things in person, because Randy IRL is the exact same person he is online, and I love his energy. I love it. It's an interesting theory,
and this is me completely sober.
Yes. It sounds like a few things would likely have to fall into place in order for that to happen. But yes, it's an interesting theory. Definitely, I definitely think that at the very least, VeVe, as they grow as an entity, will likely look at acquiring or buying out specific companies and businesses, whether it's Disney. I mean, who knows, right? You really never know. Maybe then maybe they can eliminate the Disney fee, because we won't need a Disney fee because they are Disney.
It's true.
So that'd
be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, because then I could represent my
And maybe
Partners Club.
And maybe by that time, right now, currently, Feesh is just partnered with a Comey. He's been very clear that it's just
hold it up, baby, hold it up.
But maybe by that time, the Feeshes will be partnered with VeVe. I think that might be a pipe dream. I don't know if that. I would 3,000 or 3,500, however many Feesh that are sold right now, that would like probably double if suddenly they're on VeVe. That'd be great.
Well, there's only, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only 10,000, I think, Feesh total, right?
Do you have Feesh?
I do, I have 10.
Oh, girl. Oh, so you're going to get mad.
Yeah.
So you got 190 airdrops in September.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Like, I haven't even, Brock is like, literally every day it's just like a new Discord message, and it's like, hey, gang, just dropped 74 more things. And I'm like, oh my God, like, that's crazy. But no, I think the partnerships could really start to roll out. And I think, we know going into next year, the team has already said like they're looking to have a big 2023. So whatever that means and however that rolls out, if it's a partnership with the Viviverse or it's just building out their current platform or it's acquiring other people, like we really don't know. But I think the exciting thing is like we get to be a part of it and we get to find out.
Yeah, this is so I feel like we were born too late to explore like the oceans of the world. We were born too early to explore space mostly. We were born just the right time to share these dank memes and to go and explore this metaverse. Pioneers in this, it's like Reddit, like the front page of the internet. This is I feel very, very privileged to be alive at this time.
It is. It's very interesting, and it's hard to compare it because you can't compare it to any other time because we weren't alive any other time. But it is really, it's interesting. And I do look back, and I've talked to a couple of people about this. Like, I really equate it to like this experience, like whether or not it pans out, because really none of us have a crystal ball and we don't know definitively one way or another. You really consider the fact that like, if someone had told me about Bitcoin back in 2013, and sometimes I'll talk about Bitcoin in conversations and people will be like, he's saying OMI is Bitcoin, guys. And it's like, guys, I'm not saying OMI is the next, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying as an example, just the growth that Bitcoin has experienced. Like if someone had told me about Bitcoin back in 2013, would I have got it? And would I have seen it? And even 3 years ago, I think if you came to me and were like, hey man, like digital collectibles are the future, I'd be like, but it's very interesting. Just everything is kind of falling into place. And it seems like everything that's happening on the macro right now just reaffirms, I think, everything that we've kind of believed up until this point. When we see major companies like Facebook rebranding to Meta, focusing on a metaverse, when we see other major companies like Google and Apple really focusing on AR and VR technology. And it really goes to show that, well, yes, VeVe maybe doesn't move as fast as we'd like them to always. The vision has been there, and the vision has been there since the very beginning. Like when you think back to 2017, like I played Pokemon Go, but I didn't give a you-know-what about the fact that it was an AR or anything like that. But like they saw that, and they saw what it could become, and it just gets me really excited. And I don't know that any other point in history anyone would have been ready for this. I mean, you even look back at, CryptoPunks back when they first came out in 2017, they were free. No. And they didn't even sell out being free. But then eventually, as they started to build up momentum, and as the technology started to become more prevalent, people were like, hey, there's something to this. Yeah. So yeah, they were before their time. And I feel like similarly, VeVe's a little bit before its time right now too. But it's not even just that it's before its time. It's that different catalysts are starting to come into place that we just didn't have previously. Yeah. I think for the first time, we can start to really classify these as real NFTs now that we have the metadata on chain, which is fantastic. We have a legitimate cash out process. So you can actually take the money out. It's not just gems for the last 18 months, which was a big concern. We'll eventually hopefully have the utility with the Master Collector program and utility for OMI with the OMI utility program. And both of those should hopefully be coming out at some point, #soon. So I think as you start to build up this foundation, you start to realize like, yeah, could we have gotten further sooner? Maybe in an ideal world, but where we're headed is just still so exciting. And the rest of the world is starting to finally catch on also, and maybe we're just not as crazy as we thought we were.
So there was a lot there. When you said VeVe doesn't move as fast as a lot of people want it to, and like present company included, as in myself, we also have to remember that companies like Apple that are a multi-trillion-dollar company have been around for a couple decades, whereas VeVe is still a startup. And yeah, it's worth a couple $1 billion, but also I've seen other companies grow too quickly, and say like Roman Empire, other empires, or can't keep track of it all. And David and Dan, they're two people and they can only carry on so much responsibility at once. You really have to scale appropriately. So growing too fast, too quickly is not good.
Well, you also need the right people on board, and I think that that's what's important. And I know the team gets a ton of flack all the time, and granted, some of it is warranted. There are some missteps that have happened. There's been some broken promises or overestimations that eventually come true, but maybe things need to be rejigged in the interim. But the one thing that you can't take away from these guys is that they're truly passionate about what they do. And I think that what really spoke to me is events like when you see David do an impromptu AMA at London Decon, and he spends an hour and a half just talking to the fam, not expecting millions of people to hear about it, but like he'll give one person the same amount of time that he'd give 100 people. Yeah. And it really goes to show that like I have no concerns about them rug pulling or selling out from under us, because they're really they're building this because they believe in it. And it's really, like you said, they are worth a couple billion right now. The company is, and sure, they could probably go around and sell it and never have to work a day again in their lives. But the fact that they keep building and keep trying to progress, even though there are, some people who will be negative towards them or whatever, like they don't let that deter them. They're always out at the events. They're always spending time with the fam. And so I'm really excited to be able to get to meet them and kind of feel that energy for myself, so that I can actually vouch for the fact that what you're seeing on the screen is legitimate.
Yeah,
so.
They're so fun. Can't wait to give them a big bear hug. So you'd mentioned before that when you talk about Bitcoin, people think that you're insinuating that OMI is the next Bitcoin, but I wasn't like this in the past, but I am now over the last few months. Think that Ethereum will flip Bitcoin and Bitcoin will be that digital gold. But most things are built on Ethereum. Like you're not building things on like Bitcoin. You're building them on the Ethereum blockchain. And not only do I think that'll flip, I think that because after the merge, there's still, I don't know if there's any difference in gas fees. If there are, they're pretty negligible.
Yeah.
But that allows a lot of focus on layer 2 on mutable X like OMI. And Reese had said in the past, this is a very big goal and it might not happen, but they want OMI to be the token that you use for going back and forth for NFTs. Why would you spend something in ETH and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars in gas fees when you can go and use OMI? And again, there's a bunch of other layer 2s.
Yeah.
But
it's a really interesting conversation, and I think that there is a lot of pros and cons for either. I think one of the things to consider is that OMI itself is deflationary, and Ethereum is kind of neutral now with the transition that they made recently, but still kind of minting more Ethereum than what's being consumed. So, does it make sense to spend a bunch of your OMI on things when the token itself is deflationary, which means that it could become more valuable than something like Ethereum, which can be used more so as almost a utility token. And I think it's going to be really interesting as time plays out, where there'll likely be a point where, okay, it doesn't make sense to spend your OMI because OMI is likely to 50 to 100x. But when OMI's 5 cents, 10 cents, maybe OMI 5 to 10x's from that point. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well now there's a better value proposition to be using your OMI at that point, because you're burning less of it relative, and chances are you bought it earlier. I think one of the reasons that Ethereum is as successful now as it has been is that so many people have owned Ethereum for so long that you can see people spending $1 million on a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk, and it's like, oh my god, but like these are the people that bought it at like $5 or $10, and now it's worth 1,000, right? So like one day there'll be the versions of us that are spending
can't wait
6 figures or whatever on something, and it'll be like, oh my god, but like what people forget and the disconnect is like, well, this has been around for a while, so it's established. So there is a world in which OMI does take over a bit of that market share, especially like you said with the transactional cost, especially with platforms like IMX. Eventually, if Ethereum 2.0 comes out and we see lower lower gas fees, then maybe Ethereum is, remains the go-to. But I think that OMI does solve a lot of problems for people, especially interacting within the ecosystem that we exist in currently, that maybe does not expand into the overall ecosystem that is ERC.
Yeah.
But I still think overall OMI has a lot of potential use case coming for it. And I do see, even projects, other projects building on OMI, not even specifically because of the value that OMI brings, but the ecosystem surrounding the token in the community that it'll bring out, right? Because we see it all the time on social media. Like the OMI fam and the VeVe fam are like fantastic about like representing and showing up. So like if you build your project on OMI, even if you could have built it on Ethereum, like everything's built on Ethereum. Yeah. So what separates you, right? Whereas if you build something on OMI, it's like, oh wow, like and then you got the entire family coming to support you.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that, well, you mentioned CryptoPunks before. Link down below to the utility Discord where you might be able to win a CryptoPunk NFT, or collectible. So they have when talking about that, you have companies like Utility might accept OMI at some point. There's a company called Toshimon where they will be accepting OMI at some point. Thank you, Pooski, for the super chat saying Randy and Foster together again. Dreams do come true.
That's awesome.
So I really hope that people don't forget that, like you said, like, oh well, people forget that OMI was worth so little back in the day. I hope that they don't. I hope people remember I hope that there's still people here that, if you make your millions of dollars and there'll be people that'll heck off and be like, all right, cool, on to the next thing. But I hope enough of us stay here so that I hope that these are not like the good old days. And I know they are, because at some point, if we keep this up where we might become not like Mr. Beast or Logan Paul, but maybe like a Graham Stephan, or maybe like or Stephen Graham, I forget his name.
Graham Stephan?
Oh, okay.
Or Andre Jick, or something like that. I can see the concern with that, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, a community is always still going to be a community, and I think if you remember the reason that you got into it, like, I think for me, like, this is the hardest that it's ever going to be.
No.
Like, this is, and it's gradually gotten a little bit better, but even think like 6 months ago, like, gems were just gems. There was no cash out. VeVe was a rug pull. Your money was stuck. Bots were rampant. Prices were going down 90% from their all-time highs. No one understood the gem fraud and everything that was happening. We didn't have any metadata, so we didn't even know that we owned the collectibles technically.
We're still on GoChain.
We're still on GoChain. But in a year from now, when we have utility for the OMI token, when we have utility for the collectibles, when we have at least the first iteration, if not more, of a functional Metaverse, whatever that is defined by, with the company when they release it. Once the OMI token has gone up in value, like does that make you less motivated at that? Like to me, like, my drive, like, I mean, I'm a 9-hour drive from home right now, away from my wife and kid, but I'm here because I'm excited about the prospects of the future, and because I'm excited to spend time with the fam, because it feels like a second family. Like, it really does. And like, yeah, we don't always see eye to eye with one another. Like, maybe we don't always agree on the vision or the direction that we're headed, but like, this train's going to keep moving with or without people. Yeah. But like, the real ones that have been here from the beginning, like, I don't think that you ever lose that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you or me or anyone else for that matter becomes too big or too good for the community, because the community, like, if you saw us at our worst, and we're still there to support us, like, you're going to be there to support us at our best, right? So like, I really think that
real close to that Marilyn Monroe quote.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I feel like there's a lot to look forward to, and like, whether we don't make any money or we make 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures or whatever, it's like I don't think that makes me any it doesn't mean that I want to not come out to Comic-Con or whatever. Yeah. It just means that maybe we don't split a bed next time.
There's only one bed.
There's only one bed. So
what I did mean more, though, I perhaps should have been clear about it. In the military, typically the people that you come up with, that you go through basic or tech school, that you get to base with, you're never together again because people PCS, people deploy, and usually the shop that you get really comfortable with while you're stateside, you go and deploy, and then you come back, and you don't know anyone. It's completely different. That's what I'm saying is I hope that everyone kind of, the people that are here stay, because I could picture, let's say, going to New York Comic Con like this week, and then it having completely different being at New York or at San Diego Comic Con in, once we have OUP, once maybe MCP, once we have a bunch of this stuff, and then it's like I don't recognize anyone. That's just what I meant.
Oh, totally. And I think that will happen, as the community grows more and as we get new people into it. There's always going to be new people, and like even the same like content creators as well. Like I run into the same issue, right? Like there'll be a new content creator come out, and I'm like, I don't even know who this is, right? But like that doesn't make them not valuable, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to learn about who they are and whatever, right? But yeah, like there's going to be new people come in. There's going to be OGs that leave and move on to other things. But I think I don't know. Like I think the people that you've developed relationships with, like
I hope.
Like we always talk online, and then we met for the first time last month, and I consider you a friend. You know what I mean? So like
I hope so.
whether you're like mega moolah rich or whatever, like I don't think that's going to change our relationship. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just like we have that commonality, and I think that we're always going to be able to share that. And I love that it's just one thing that can bring everyone together. Like you can be from completely different walks of life. You can have completely different political views or beliefs and, about whatever. But like, if you like VeVe, like you're always going to find that commonality between people.
That's true.
And like, I think that's going to be what brings people together. And like, I get excited about it. Like even today, I was talking to the border agent because he's like, oh, what do you like? Why are you going to the States? And I was like, oh, I'm going to Comic-Con. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he asked me a couple questions, and then I just randomly I think he got tired of me talking. He's like, move on. Like, I was like, hey man, like VeVe and but it's like, and he's just like, oh yeah, like one of my colleagues is into that kind of stuff, and it's just like you just create an instant bond with people, and I just think that's cool.
I got out of a ticket like that once. I don't know. I think it's because it was like a 15 miles an hour, and I was going like 25. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. So I was doing like this voiceover project with my friend Patrick. It was like right off base, and he's like, where are you going? I was like, oh, I'm doing like voiceover stuff. He's like, oh, like what are you doing? I was like, oh, we want to make like a bridge to My Little Pony thing, and it's like, what the fudge? And I was like, so I immediately like go off about like all these little things. Well, you see, like Rainbow Dash and Applejack sometimes don't like each other, and he's like, okay, good, and he's like walking away. I'm sticking my head out the window, and you should join the herd. Like it was the most awkward thing. VV Zombie, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's get the comments. We've been neglecting the.
Yeah. We can't. I've been like.
I saw you answer the.
Yeah.
Multitasking, bigger spoon, and you said I.
Wow. You snooze, you lose, baby. You snooze, you lose.
Janice, bring it on. Deathcast. Hello there. What up, everybody? I didn't get any of the drops today. Did you get any of the drops today?
Dude, I was
traveling.
I was indisposed. Yeah, I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Although I can probably just pick it up in the marketplace right now for 30% less.
Baconator, Daddy Chavez, and Secret Rare Frosty.
I gotta go to Wendy's now. I gotta go. I'm hungry.
He mentioned something about a Wendy's mukbang.
Oh.
We there's an Arby's pretty close to us, so maybe we'll see.
We very well could.
Goldfinger number 211, nice grab. Into 7. Afternoon, Omi Panda. Hope you're doing well. Ross says hello, crazy MFs. All right, so if you look at S4 and J1, like how would you pronounce that, or how would you say that? I'd say it's S4 and
J1. Yeah, if I say something, it's probably just going to come out as an inappropriate word. So I'm not even going to attempt it.
So apparently he's like, it's Sanji, by the way. And I was like, so I'm just going to continue calling him S4 and J1.
Yeah, because I guess a 4 kind of looks like an A.
Because he's been like this for like a year. And the other day he finally tells me it's Sanji. Like, you couldn't tell me this a year ago? Just says, name a better duo. I'll wait. Oh, yo, what up, VV Zombie? Sandra says, what's up, Foster, Walt, and Randy, Alligator Chavez? Oh, hello. How's it going?
Hello.
Mango, my garage, my Lamborghini here. Nice, Justin. Hot Wheels still going. I love you guys so much. And Kush Stories, Rand Foster, I'm trying to get Omi Akomi merch, but I'm unable to get it here in India. Recommend me someplace to buy Omi merch.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know of any of the regular providers that ship to India. I mean, I'm sure they would for a price. Like, you'd pay for the shipping. But, check out Common Club Apparel. Look up Smells Fun, SMELLSFUN on Twitter. He runs Common Club Apparel. He's generally pretty good about making things work. So, yeah, he does. He's both. Yeah. So, okay. He might be able to help you out. No promises, but I mean, I'm sure you'd have to pay for the shipping, but it might be a good way to get your hands on some merch. So,
yeah, I think I know Viviversity has the Viviversity sweatshirts, but it's not OMI. Cavell, does he still have those?
I don't know if Cavell still has his own store or not. I don't know if it was like his girlfriend's thing or whatever. So
Foster bring his mask case and he needs to do a Feesh interview. So yeah, some people think that you're Brock. Some people think that what's like your favorite nickname or your favorite Foster conspiracy theory?
Oh boy, my favorite Foster conspiracy theory. I don't know. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about me. I feel like I'm like a shrouded in mystery. Like, what's he up to today? Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite one, but you know what? I think that the Brock one's fairly interesting, and you know, maybe it's because there's some merit to it that keeps it interesting. But
they're both white. Like, is that what merit?
We're both bread cats.
Trucking
from
Hank,
space.
Thank you for the super chat. Saying great to see you two together again. Love the coin wizard. Your gift is still waiting.
For excellent.
Thank you.
Oh, he got me a gift from in India, I think, or maybe it was in India. I don't remember exactly where it was, but he went on a trip and he's like, "I'm going to bring you something back." I was like,
"Oh, nice. Oh, is he going to be here?"
No, he's from Canada.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought it was like waiting for it. Gotcha. Yeah. So did you see the Wendyverse trailer that came out a few months ago? We can play it. It's,
what?
Yeah.
Are you going to get demonetized for it?
I don't think there's.
Don't play with audio, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think there's sound.
I'm just trying to look out for you.
Yeah, Wendy Metaverse.
I'd hate for Wendy's to take all your super chats. So.
Okay, where's the? All right, here's the preview. It's only 30 seconds, but I will. Okay, all right. You're gonna see it over.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got games with burgers.
What?
Yeah. You can put burgers into the hoops, put fries into the shakes.
How disappointed are you going to be if this is better than the Viviverse?
I'm not gonna.
Could you imagine all the memes?
Dude, I'm so
pumped.
They'd
be terrible.
It.
Oh, God.
I'm pumped, man. I'm super excited for it. That is, I'm really hoping that Taco Bell comes out with it because Taco Bell's been like destroying Wendy's at like every turn, and I'm just, oh damn, is that? Moving on, yeah. Trump decides to be 2024 ticket. Maybe meet the king down in Mar-a-Lago. Even better, Randy buys a portion of Disney. Oh yeah. So what would you when OMI does moon? What are you going to diversify into?
See, I think this is a really good question. I think this is a responsible thing to talk about because, and I kind of hinted at it earlier a little bit too, like maybe spending your OMI at a tenth of a penny isn't the best opportunity unless you've already like 100x'd on your investment. Yeah. But, you know, when OMI's 10 cents, let's say, and maybe long-term forecast, it only goes to 50 cents, right? And then it's like, hey, like this is only going to do, not that only is a bad thing, but like, oh, it's only going to do a 5x before it caps.
Yeah. Like, in like 4 years.
Exactly. Like, oh, is there a better investment to make at that time? And, you know, that's a very interesting consideration to have. I think for me, I would probably diversify into real estate because that was the original intention with the funds that I used to invest in OMI to begin with. Yeah. So it'd be like an interesting kind of full circle situation. And then beyond that, I think it's really going to come down to opportunities that come up through people that you meet in the community and stuff like that, right? Because like, I mean, anyone can just go and invest in like a, you know, a broad market index fund or an ETF, but it's like, hey, you hear about this project that you think's going to do well, and like, cool, man, like I'll throw 5 or 10 grand in it, just like see what happens, and it's just going to be like that, or like the community is going to find something and they're going to hound you about it forever, and then I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to check this out. Like, I think that, you know, as long as you're responsible, because right now is kind of the time in my mind, like I've invested an amount of money that I'm willing to lose if it goes to zero. Yeah. But like I'm looking to make life-changing money. Like I'm not here to make 6% a year, right? Like that's not, like I don't care about that. Like I have a job. My wife is like, we don't need 6% a year right now. Like we either need to retire or we need to keep working. Like there's no in between. Yeah. So once we get to that point, it's just going to be about like what can produce passive income and will allow us to, continue to live within our means and whatever. And I think for me, the biggest thing is going to be not to change the way that I live my life too much. Like, I don't want to go out and buy like some like 6,000 square foot mansion and be like, yo, and like buy a private island in like the Caribbean that I never go to.
Unless
just
you have, like,
because.
8 kids.
Well, yeah, but like even then, you know what I mean? Like I just want to be able to travel and invest in things that are going to allow me to continue to get that income. I think that one of the interesting things that we haven't seen that could be a potential possibility is earning passive income through this investment, whether it be through renting collectibles on the VeVe side, or whether it be through staking rewards or whatever on the OMI side. Yeah, you won't earn more OMI, but like maybe you can earn collectibles or whatever. Like, who knows, right? So I think that could be really good. And then maybe you don't even really have to leave. You know what I mean? Like, so I think for you and me, like, we're not that far off when it comes to like X's and multiples, but like you have a lot more OMI than me. So like I think for you, it's like have you ever thought about like what is your goal? And like it's easy to be like, oh, I want OMI to go to $1 one day. I mean, like, of course we all do, but like have you ever thought about like a number in your head, not an OMI number, but like, hey, if I hit $10 million, like I'm happy. Like I don't need a cent more. Like I can do all of my my animal conservation and like efforts and whatever, and like I'm not going to do any more. Like I'm good. Or are you just kind of like,
so
screw it, we'll just see what happens? And
I was fine with it. You just made me think of something really not good.
Oh.
So when I was dating Danielle, the veterinarian, she was fine with me. I said I wanted, and this is still my goal, to still have 100 million OMI when it reaches $1. And I told her 90% of that would go to, animal conservation.
Okay.
And I feel like most women, if you tell them that, yeah, I'm going to have $100 million, but I'm going to give away 90 million of it, they're probably not going to be cool with it. So I feel like now there's probably going to be no woman that's going to want to be with me. So I think I just shot myself in the foot with that. But
Randy is taking applications at New York Comic Con. If you are a single woman and you are in the area,
not now,
and you are okay with only $10 million,
but yeah, that'd be the goal. Because this way, selling at 2 cents, 6 cents, 10 cents, 12, the goal, if I still over the course of the next 8 years having to sell 40 million, that's about 4 million OMI a year that I can sell. And still have 100 million by the time I reach $1. So obviously that gets more easier to do, the higher OMI gets, because once we reach, let's say 2 cents, okay, I could sell 3 million and have $60,000, and I could live off that for over a year. So it gets the goal, I guess, would still be to live relatively within my means, but the goal, I don't think, I have this really crazy goal where I think that 100 million is definitely doable, but I also think that happens, I won't even be 40. I think that it's possible to 10x from there in other investments, and I think I could actually cross that $1 billion mark by the time I'm 50. Because I feel like, okay, well, 60% of $1 billion is a lot more than 90% of 100 million. So I'll help animals along the way and whatever, but I'll never go all in again, because this has aged me. But what about you? What is let's say you get to 10 million. Fun on the Suns. I have a very serious question. Why you get so awesome? Please elaborate. Probably the Lucy. probably
on your end, not
on my
mine.
end.
I'm clean as a whistle.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah. It's a very, like, all jokes aside, like it's really cool to like meet someone that you vibe with, and like, I mean, like I said, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, and you're just flexing your biceps now. What's going on?
Plug my. Okay, there we go. Okay.
You're fine. You're fine. You didn't even let it get down to 69%. Disappointment. No, you know what? Like I said, like Randy is very much the same person IRL that he is on stream, and if you grew up watching him like I did, in the community. You know, it's just really a great opportunity to get to know them, and I'm very fortunate that I've had that opportunity. So it's just really fun that we have similar views and opinions on things, and so it's really easy to get along with him and kind of just hang out. So yeah, and it's great to have all you guys hanging out with us as well. I mean, there's almost 100 of you in the chat right now. Everyone's, you know, vibing, having a good time. If you guys are in New York this week and you're planning to go to Comic-Con, let us know in the comments, because I am curious how many people are coming.
Remember 8 months ago when we'd have 400 people here? So I don't know how much percentage-wise you put of your net worth into this. I guarantee you.
Define net worth.
Of like how much.
Can it be a negative number?
Like how? Like let's say you had $100,000 and you put in 80% into this. Like again, whatever that number is that you had, how much you put into it, whether it's 30% of what you had versus 60%, 10%.
Yeah,
I went like 95% in.
Yeah, so I would say that, you know, if you counted any liquid capital that I had access to, it was over 90%. And the only reason that I had access to that liquid capital is because we refinanced our home.
Yeah.
So technically, I essentially went into debt in order to invest in this, which I don't recommend to people, for the record. Like, it's my journey, not yours. Like, I had someone message me on Twitter yesterday, and they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about dipping into my 401k to invest in OMI. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, no financial advice, no financial advice. I'm not Kim Kardashian. Like, I don't want to get sued." Like,
I mean, me, I've told people, like, thank God I'm living with my friend Nick and Meg now. If they weren't there when I had to get out of my apartment, I'd be streaming from my car. Like, I've had other people message me, "Hey, you could always stay with me," and thanks, guys, appreciate it. But yeah, I would not sell OMI. Like, Batman could not get me to sell.
Oh, like I've already told my wife, like there is no world in which we sell our, like, I will work all the overtime that I have to. Like, you won't even know me. My daughter won't recognize me. Like, I will never be home, but I will find a way to make money. I will sell foot picks. I will do whatever it takes, man. Like, there is no world in which I sell OMI at these levels. Like, it's just not happening.
So let's say you see another great project, maybe not great as VeVe as OMI, but say, what is the max percentage of the next project you go into? Is it like, I'm no longer putting any more than 10% or 5%? Or is it like, YOLO, man?
It's an interesting question, because I know that you've kind of been there before. You did it with Tesla, you did it with Pokemon, and now you said, like, this is kind of your last hurrah.
Last person. All in.
Yeah, and so, you know, I've never been much of a gambler. Like, to me, it sounds very risky what I did, but I consider myself a very, very calculated person, and I feel like I understand the project fairly well. And so, you know, I don't see any reason why my investment will not be successful long term.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'll be in a position where I'll ever have to put myself in a position where I need to allocate like a specific percentage of my net worth that's like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, 10% of $10 million is $1 million, which is a lot. But if you have $10 million and you lose $1 million, it's like, I still have $9 million. Right now, you know, I've invested about 100,000 US into the project. If I lost 100,000, I'd be down to zero. Yeah. But like, I could still make my mortgage payments, I could still pay my bills and whatever, and I'd move on with my life. But I think if OMI does even a fraction of what I believe that it will do, I mean, I'll have anywhere between 2 to 10 million.
Wow.
And at that point, like, I don't see why you would need to do anything crazy, like put a significant portion of it. Like, even if it was like as close to a sure thing as sure things existed, like, it's just not worth it at that point. And like, I've had similar conversations. I'll give you guys a perfect example, a little insider thing, right? Like, as you guys know, Andre Jick invested more money into OMI. Pro the Doge invested money in OMI. They both bought VeVe Collectibles. And I was talking to Andre a while back, and I was like, "Hey man, like, are you gonna buy more OMI?" And he's like, "Yeah, like, I'm on the fence. Like, I really believe in it. I think it's gonna go well, but like, I don't know that I necessarily need to." And like, at first I was like, "You're an idiot. Like, buy as much effing OMI as you can," because I could say that to him privately, which I would not say publicly. But I was like, "Dude, like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, but like, I don't need to." And I was saying, and then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, he's diversified. He has real estate. He has his portfolio. He has social media. Like, he doesn't need to go all in on OMI in order for it to be successful for him. Like, if OMI goes to $1, like, he'll make 25, 30 million. Like, he doesn't need to go, like, he'll be fine. Yeah. Whereas, like, I feel like for people like us, it's like, if you want it to change your life, you can't just say that you want it to happen. Like, you need to put your money where your mouth is, because you don't have those other means in order to diversify into things. Like, and like, sure, you could put $10,000 in 10 different projects, which is probably the more responsible decision. But like, I just like, if this doesn't work out, I just wasn't meant to invest. And like, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like if I'm wrong about this in some universe that like I didn't know existed and whatever, like, then like I'll take those licks. But like, I just don't see how you don't see it. It's kind of how I look at it.
So there's, I'll equate this to hunger and like bodybuilding. So Arnold Schwarzenegger had said, I think in Pumping Iron, that a lot of guys that he would go to the gym with, they would have to eat massive amounts of food, and he'd be like, I could eat a 10-ounce steak, and that's fine, that's perfect for me, and he didn't really need to have anything else. But so in that same way, some people are fine with just having however much OMI they have.
Yeah.
But some people need more. Some people, they just have that hunger of, there's a little bit of wealth, but then there's FU wealth. There's Oprah wealth. There's, I was disrespected at this Wendy's, so I'm going to buy this Wendy's, and when you come in tomorrow, you're fired. Like, really hope I don't get that petty. Thank you, Messiah says, we'd sell our children before OMI. So, to take let's say if you're in Yemen, Afghanistan, wherever, there are some people in those parts of the world where they will, when they're sowing their fields, they'll put their children to walk before they put like their tractors, because their idea is that they can make more children, but they don't have enough money for a tractor. So I know that was meant as like a joke, but there are countries in this world where it's, I feel like your heart just broke. You just looked at me like,
well, like I made a joke in the chat, and now you're saying this.
Wait, what was the joke?
So like,
you got it, bro.
So I want to be clear. I made that joke before Randy said his thing. And so, oh my god, that just like broke my, like, in all seriousness, like as someone who does have a daughter, like that actually does like break my heart. Like I like that. You're right. Like that's. Like I'm very fortunate, and I think that this is a really good conversation that we should have as well, because I think a lot of people will look at us and assume that we're like some crazy whales, or we were super wealthy or well off beforehand, which nothing could be further from the truth. But like they'll look at the amount of OMI that you have or that I've been able to acquire, and they'll be like, oh my god, like that's crazy. But like I think it's really important for people to understand, like, collect within your means. And if you have the conviction in it, like, it's just a number. Like, don't let it, like, like a lot of people will be like, how much OMI do I need? Like, like, how much OMI do I need? Like, when OMI goes to $1, like, how much? Well, like, firstly, what's your goal?
Yeah, it depends on your goal.
Like, what's your goal, right? Like, if you, like, is this enough OMI? Like, I don't have enough OMI right now. Randy doesn't have enough OMI right now.
Never enough. And
you're never going to have enough. Like, I'm just being straight up honest with you guys. Like, you are never going to have enough OMI, realistically. So like, invest what you can within your means if you choose to invest on your own, and then you accept that, right? Like if you only have enough money to buy 100,000 OMI, then you get 100,000 OMI, and you're proud of the fact that you own 100,000 OMI. If you get to 500,000 OMI, then you get your 500,000 OMI. You're proud of that. Get to 1 million, great. Like celebrate all the successes. Like I love when people tag me on social media and they're like, I just hit my first 1 million OMI. That gets me so pumped up, because like I remember what it was like to hit my first 1 million OMI. And when I bought my first 1 million OMI, it cost me $7,300. And you can buy 1 million OMI right now for $1,200.
Oh god.
Like, so just like when you put those into perspective, but like I'm not any less excited for those people. In matter of fact, I'm more excited for them because they got in at such a good time in order to take full advantage of it. So like, just do what you can within your means, and
recognize this is probably one of the best times to buy. Not financial advice, but if I would have kept working for a year, just one more year, and I would have kept my Tesla, kept my Pokemon cards and everything, I wouldn't have 145 million on me. I'd have well over 500 million. And that kills me on a level that more than anyone will ever know. But here's the thing, like, it could always be worse. Take the people that I just mentioned before in, the not as fortunate parts of the world. You can go to and I'm not trying to knock anyone that has like I made a like 6 years ago. You remember the roast yourself challenge?
Was that like a TikTok thing?
It was. I think it was before TikTok. It's on YouTube. You roast yourself.
Okay.
So I made like a maybe 30-second or 1 minute video on like roasting myself, on how like, like just that. I love joking about that, but there are some people that'll complain online, and it kills me that they complain about their situation, because I've seen there's somewhere in the world, probably thousands of people in the world that are at your age, that look like you, that just got the worst news ever. Like they're a mother, they're a father that got one of those phone calls where someone came to their house like, hey, your kid's dead. You have one of those phone calls like, hey, they just got a cancer diagnosis. And they would trade places with you in a second. They would listen to all of your problems and all of like your misery and woes and be like, that means nothing to me. We'll trade places right now. So I think it's really important to focus on what you do have and not what you're missing, and that will make the bear market a lot easier. Yeah. That'll make, I mean, in America, the 1% is, I think, $400,000 a year plus that you're making. But if we widen that circle out to the world, make $30,000 a year, you're in the 1%. Like in the world, that is crazy. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely bananas. So, the fact that if you have, I only have 100,000 OMI, okay, you're at some point, if you hold that, you're probably gonna have $100,000, and so few people reach that. Like I remember freaking the fudge out when I got that, because that was, it's wild.
So what do you tell? Because I think this is an important conversation as well. I know it kind of took a real turn. Normally we try and keep things light, but I think these are really important conversations to have, because mental health is a really important thing, and I think people can struggle with that sometimes. As someone who, on paper, was worth over $1 million in OMI at one point, like how do you deal with kind of the downturns? Like, is it that same mentality where you look at like, yeah, it sucks, but like I could be in this situation or whatever, or like what is it that helps you kind of, like, is it knowing or believing that long term, like, it will matter because it's going to go back up, or like how do you find that you cope with that? Because I know that I initially struggled when my VeVe vault went from over $250,000 in value to under $100,000 in value. I was like, wow, like that's some money, you know what I mean? So like, how do you find, like, what are some of the techniques or things that you tell yourself or that you'd want to tell others about kind of how to handle that? Because I'm sure everyone in this chat right now, I've seen people commenting in here that, they bought upwards of a penny and stuff like that. And I'm sure, especially if you didn't dollar cost average, you're probably down quite significantly on your money. So how do you handle those situations?
So I try to look at that as being responsible for being the cat of the zodiac. If we're going with the Chinese zodiac, you're the horse I was born in. There are 12 animals, and the cat is not part of the zodiac. But in the story, it goes that God told all the animals that there'd be a banquet tomorrow, but the rat told the cat the banquet would be the day after tomorrow. So in the story, the cat's like the fool, because he's dreaming of a banquet that'll never come while everyone else is enjoying it. And in that story, other animals might have it pretty bad, but at least they're not the cat. So some of you might be saying, like, yeah, I had $50,000 worth and now it's worth, $10,000, or I had, 6 figures and I lost $80,000. I've lost at one point over $900,000. So, I'm happy that I didn't sell, because I would be a hypocrite if I said, don't feel bad. Because then I wouldn't have taken those losses. Yeah. But I did take those losses on paper. I haven't sold anything yet. Never sold it. I'm really happy that metadata's out, so that they can show that I've never sold a Loki. Like I said, I wouldn't. I've never sold a bunch of these things. This is, I hope that I could be one example of the testament of like diamond hands, or like didn't sell, just keep hodling. For that aspect, and that's the truth, I choose the way I choose to look at it this way, I'm happy that I didn't sell because of that. Adam Face is dead inside. Follow the steps. Yeah, I guess Adam was also somebody that had has a bunch of OMI and didn't sell at the top. But also I know where it's going. Like I know 100% where this is going. So I'm not I'm not concerned about the short-term vicissitudes or long-term we'll be celebrating. If I don't get 100 million OMI, believe me. How much OMI you got?
Yeah, how much more do you have to go? I mean, it's definitely
those numbers up.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially at these prices. I mean, not for a lot of people, but for some, it's definitely attainable.
So I want to ask you a question. In the last couple weeks, it came out that Mr. Beast declined $1 billion for his brand. And Gary came out saying, well, he should ask for 10 billion. Or no, Mr. B said I'd probably sell it for 10 billion. And Gary V's like, that's not enough. It should be more. So for me, I would be okay with selling the real Randy Chavez IP, continue to work for whoever bought it for 500,000, because at that point I can take that 500,000, buy as much OMI as I want, and then who cares what happens to real Randy Chavez IP? But I will make that person a promise that, for however long you can get the Randy Chavez IP, put my face on whatever you want. When OMI blows up and VeVe blows up, as it inevitably will, and I become one of the top VeVe content producers, I would, that'd be very beneficial for whoever bought that. How much would you sell the Coin Wizard Foster Hilt IP for? What's your number?
If someone offered me more than $10 for it, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
So can I buy it from you? Can I buy the Coin Wizard Foster Hilt IP?
Well, I'm not selling it for $10. Now I got to raise my price now that I'm hearing how much you want for yours. No, it's interesting because people keep telling me like, you need to brand, you need to do all this stuff, and like I love that you've like embraced, creating a brand and curating a community and like doing all this stuff. And like for me, I'm just like, I just make like Excel chart videos on the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't take myself seriously enough to be like I started making YouTube videos because my friends and family would ask me the same questions 50 times and I got tired of answering it over and over. So I was like, here, I'm making this video and like whatever, like here's what's going on in the community, like blah, blah, blah. And here's what I think about this. Cause like, obviously the only thing that people ever care about is like, when is OMI going to $1? So like I just started making charts like, hey, here's how we could burn this. And here's when this might be worth that and whatever. So, if a brand ends up kind of coming out of what I develop, then awesome. But I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just Foster. Like, it's just like shout out to Dan Schawbel. Like he kind of coined the term, and it kind of stuck with some people. And
Adam Face said he'll buy it for 100, sell it to Brock so he could have it back.
I don't know. So like, yeah, I mean, maybe eventually, like for me, like I can't envision a time when that happens. Like I know some people will say like all content creators in the community now, will have, 50 to 100,000 subs next bull run when everyone comes and whatever. And like, that just gives me anxiety, man. I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm already stressed out enough with like the 10,000 people that follow me now. Like I don't need that. Like, what is going on here? You know what I mean?
Looking for my hairbrush.
Yeah, you're going hard on the hairbrush. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, eventually maybe like it could be fun. Like I know that this, like I had this as my profile picture for a few days. Psych! Ha! Gotcha!
Love Danley.
No, it was this. It was like the Coin Wizard thing. And I was like, oh, like this could be cool. And like, I went to Staples. Canadians, do you guys have Staples in the States? Okay, so I went to Staples to get it printed out because my plan was, hey, I'm going to get Dan and David to sign it at New York Comic Con, and then I'm going to put it on the wall and all of my stuff, and it can like create a brand. Like that'll be cool. And I go, and they're like $40 to print the picture.
Yeah, it's
like $40 to print a picture. I'm like, guys, I know we're in inflation right now, but like, come on. Like, so then I didn't end up doing it because I'm cheap. So, yeah, so it might be cool to Justin, I'll offer you a secret rare Spidey.
Oh no!
Don't do me like that, man.
They're pretty cheap now. They're only like 10 grand.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it was like 90.
See, guys, it was really the master plan. I sold it so that it could go up to 100, so that you guys would all make fun of me. But then it'll go back down to 1,500, and I'll just buy it back then.
So
and there you go.
Blockchain just tweeted, "Cat's out of the bag. Foster Hilt and Randy Chavez just leaked that the Feesh is making a bid to purchase VeVe Official in 2023. Don't tell anyone. The paperwork isn't signed."
Oh god, that's funny. That's funny.
So we've been neglecting the
Yes, we've been
I forget where we're at here. Kay, get out from under the sheets, you silly goose. We had Kay here for a minute.
Yeah, I was hoping that Kay would have been able to
runs.
come down, but I think he's doing a lot of traveling this year,
Yeah.
so he wasn't able to make it. But
My beard got rugged near Comic-Con, ready to meet some of the... Oh, Danny DeBull, he'll be here. That'll be cool.
oh, nice.
Yeah. Reading skin suits. What do you think OMI would taste like if potential eaten? Probably, I don't know. Probably hot, right? It's red circle.
Ooh, spicy.
I mean, the Akomi symbol would be like a cookie, like a charred or burnt something. But the red, I don't know.
We can't talk about food right now, man. If we're gonna do a mukbang stream, we can talk about it. Otherwise, you're making me hungry.
I am. Did you just have like fish and chips? Like,
Don't call me out.
oh, I mean, I'm surprised I haven't been farting because I had chicken and a bunch of broccoli, and I haven't been going up. Foster is abroad. Huge amount of volume for Bitcoin the last few weeks. So a lot of people. All right. So the consensus is that Credit Suisse will fail, but the consensus is usually wrong. I think they're too big to fail. And
I don't think that they're going to fail because even if they run into issues, the governments will just bail them out. Yeah. So I mean, they're not going to fail because they can't fail, because if they do fail, then the entire financial system is going to go. So yeah.
So do you think that? I think the bottom was already in. I mean, I don't know what happens after the election.
Oh, see, like every time I say this, like then it goes lower, and people are like, "Oh." So, what I will say is, I'm still fairly confident that we won't see 000 for OMI. I've maintained this since June, and it still hasn't happened. So I'm riding that wave and being confident on it. But the bottom for all of the markets, I think we'll have to wait until the next set of CPI data comes out, and then go from there. Like Bitcoin's kind of doing its own thing right now, even though the markets are tanking. Like Bitcoin's kind of rebounding a bit, but like who knows, right? Like there's just so many macro factors that can affect what happens. Like I know Coinbase has a documentary, I think, coming out on Netflix soon, which will be interesting. More and more countries are starting to incorporate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency into their portfolios and allow their asset managers to invest. So I think as we continue to get more adoption for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole, it'll only continue to strengthen, but that still doesn't change the fact that, there could be, a world conflict that causes issues, and there's still a lot of uncertainty with what's happening in the world right now. So hard to say for sure. Like for me, that's why dollar cost averaging is always the best bet, because you never really know. Like even if you think you know, you never know. So
Adam says, can you guys get me a few of those silver gold logos for friendship and whatnot? I could probably get one for someone. I mean, you could see if you can get it for yourself.
Dude, I'll be lucky to get one for myself. David was saying that he's like basically out now.
Yeah, so I thought they had like 200 left, but be advised, not everyone gets it. Even like Kelly the VeVe Fox, like she didn't get one in
what?
DesignerCon. Yeah, so like not everyone gets it. It's like random and sporadic. Like David even said, did you listen to the spaces?
I wasn't able to tune in for the whole thing. I tuned in for the second half.
Oh, so for those that don't know, like I don't know why or how they do this, but I guess they don't have access to some of VeVe's like whatever, because David didn't have a logo. So he told Dan, it's like, oh, Dan, I need a logo for this person. I ran out and said, okay. And then he just took it for himself.
Well, I think that's what people don't realize too, right? Like they just assume Dan and David can just like keep all the collectibles for themselves, but like they buy the collectibles just like we do from the drops and stuff. Like so it's hilarious that he did that. I loved it.
It's amazing.
I love Dan and David.
So yeah, so number 41 is collected. Someone got number 43, mother flapper.
Oh.
Yeah, they got it was listed for I think 3,500 and they got it. There's number 42 listed for 5K. I probably shouldn't have said that because I want it, but Yeah, that's because I have number 41.
So
but
if I get 42, how much are you? How much? Are
well,
you
no,
giving
they
me
have
for?
42.
Oh, they have
but it's
42.
listed for 5K, and I think that's 100% worth it.
Well, so tell me a little bit more about this utility that you think that they're going to add for it, because David kind of teased it in the AMA or whatever.
It's unlimited utility. It's for forever, and it doesn't have to. You don't have to be the person to like mint it. You could buy it from the secondary, and you get physical collectibles. Depending on now, it's only really worth it if you go to these things,
events, yeah.
Because you get a physical. But if you go to them, you could possibly get 4 physicals a year, like for that, and they're gonna be con exclusives. Adam Awesome Face. Oh wait, I think I just.
No, he donated.
I know.
He's crushing it.
Can you give
no,
me
he did
those?
another one.
I'm not seeing the other one. Oh, every now and then my. Do you think they'll hold the first 40? What would Brock pay for number 19? Brock would probably pay a good amount of what's that called? He'll probably pay a good amount of probably either Feesh or I don't think he'll use OMI. That's another thing I want to talk to you about. The so it's working on here. It's not working on here anymore.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't know what he would pay for number 19. I mean, they are going to be very sporadic. So a lot of people are freaking out about they're gonna get rid of they're gonna sell some of the sub 41s. So they are, but it will be so few and far between. Like once in a blue moon they will. But in doing so, let's say they do it for Alligator Loki, and they give away in a contest a number 37 and a number 21 for the secret rare. If they happen to do the common or the ultra rare, it's going to be different numbers. You're never like Brock has the number 19. I think the number 1 set.
Was 19 the number 1 set back then?
Well, they kept the first 15 or 16, but Brock has the 19. But that'll never be able to happen again. You won't be able to do that because they're never going to give away the same mint numbers. So.
Well, and I think that this is something important that people need to realize as well, because I know that when this news came out, and like I feel like recently I've done a better job of not just like commenting on things, because when I comment on things, people are like, there he goes again, defending VeVe, and it's like, no, I'm just giving you the perspective. Yeah. But like, anyways, people heard that this was happening, and I was always under the impression that it was going to happen. Like when they say that, like, and I think credit to where credit's due, probably wasn't great that Alex said, they'll never see the light of day. Okay. But they were always going to be used for giveaways because they already gave away at 40. Like, we already knew that. Like, this had already happened once last year, if you had been in the community for a while. So, like, we knew that they were going to start doing giveaways and start running promotions with these collectibles. So it didn't surprise me when they announced that this was going to happen. But like Randy said, and what's important to note is, like, you'll never be able to get the full number 20 or the number 29 or whatever set of anything because they're never going to release the full set. So like, as an example, the partner statue is a 1 of 1. So like, yes, you could get a sub 40 and like, yeah, that could make it more valuable. But like, if you complete the number 41 set of Batman Black and White, well, that's actually a bad example because it was released up to 19, but let's pretend it wasn't for this purpose. You could get it, but you wouldn't be able to get all 4. Like maybe you get the Todd number 25, but they're not going to release the number 25 Rizzo. So therefore you would never be able to get all 4 of them as like a 25 the same. So like, I actually think it's good that they're starting to release some of these collectibles. The thing is, and the thing that always has been, is that they weren't available during the drop. So you were never going to be able to get a sub 41 in a public drop, but like maybe in a giveaway or like a really random staking reward or like whatever. Like if you lock up $10 million worth of OMI, I want you to get these collectibles. I think you deserve them at that point because you're benefiting the entire ecosystem. And I think that's what people need to recognize, right? Is like there's the inherent selfish perspective, which is like, hey, I want this because it's the thing that's the most valuable. But like if like the Dr. Profits of the world or whatever are locking up a bunch of their OMI, and as a byproduct of them locking up their OMI, they get rewarded with, let's say, super exclusive collectibles that no one else can get. If you're an OMI holder, you're being directly benefited by them doing this. So I think that it's still a net positive to everyone that's in the project because it also brings additional eyes into the project. Because if one of these whales gets this collectible and then they sell it, oh, now we have $1 million sale on VeVe, and now more eyes are on VeVe because people are talking about it. So like overall, I think it's a positive. And like, yeah, for me, I'm probably never gonna get a sub 40. And like, yeah, like whatever, but like it's just a number. Like realistically, I would rather own a 1977 Star Wars mint than a random number 25. Because what does 25 mean? It means nothing, right? Like I would rather own the 1963 Amazing Fantasy 15 comic book than owning 142, because once again, what does it mean, right? So like it's just a different perspective. Like yeah, they could have probably gone about it a better way as to how they announced it. So like granted, yes, not everything was done perfectly, but at the same time, I think that they are going to ensure that there's those checks and balances in place so that people can't just fully take advantage of it. And so I think it's going to be good.
So we got Brock McBloch had just tweeted before.
Yeah.
We mentioned that already. Disregard. Moving on to super chats. Adam Moss says, "Give Foster his phone back so Brock can tweet again." And another one from Maxwell says, "Beer money only." Yo, Foster! Shout out to Maxwell for that. Thank you kindly. Adam Moss again says, "Haunted House is live for Feesh." There was an issue with that. Hang on one sec. Also, there will be different types of collectors: low mints, special mints, sub 40, god tiers, etc.
Exactly.
Agreed. So yeah, so the second I made a tweet before saying that I was playing the second game of the Metaverse, their Haunted House of the Feeshverse. There was an issue with it where I guess you couldn't progress as far in the game as you were allowed to. I'm not sure if that's fixed now. It's been a couple hours. It probably is. We had gotten pumpkin airdrops for our Feesh in the last couple days, and you get another one while playing the game. So if you don't have a Feesh, you don't even need one to play this game. You can do whatever.
Oh.
You actually get another pumpkin airdrop while playing this game. So yeah, you get.
He's crushing it right now. I will say, like, I haven't had enough time to dedicate to the project itself, other than, I thought it was cool to support a community initiative, which is why I bought the 10 that I did at the time. It also helped that, and for those of you guys that don't realize this, like, I don't make any money from Brock for this happening, or I guess if you believe that I'm Brock, then I guess I technically make money off of this. But anyways, he doesn't change the price of them. So when Ethereum is really low, it's actually super cheap to mint them, because I think they're 0.03 ETH. So when like ETH is $4,000, like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. But like I bought all of mine when ETH was under $1,000. So like I got 10 of them for like $300. Because they were like $32 each.
Yeah, I think
so.
Even now, gas fees I think have been
and gas fees have been fairly low recently. Yeah. So it's
might want to do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting consideration, and if the community does, and this is like David says, like they don't want 1 or 2 million users, they want 50 to 100 million. Yeah. So like if you have 50 to 100 million users and there's only 10,000 Feesh, and like I own 10 of them, like you know what I mean, like. How many are there to go around? Because I'm not the only one that owns, a bunch of them. So
when I had Jonathan Little, the poker player, on, we were talking about Feesh, and I think Brock was messaging me. He's like, "Hey, let your guy know however many he mints, I'll match it for him." So Jonathan Little minted 30 Feesh, and Brock gave him another 30. So he's got 60. What's 60 times 19, so 12, so he has 1,140 airdrops in September.
Which is nuts. How do you even keep track of that? Oh my goodness.
It's insane. But so it wasn't the platform had an issue, not the haunted house. But yeah, if you finish the haunted house, you get a free NFT gift, which is pretty legit. Where was I in the comments beforehand? So I said before the eagle has landed. I don't know what we're doing. And we have detail. Oh. Ready. Oh. Yeah, that works. All right, so we're going to bring this to a close.
Awkward silence.
We're going to bring this to a close. We'll go over some of these comments here in the long game crew. Yep, we're in the end game now.
We're in the end game.
Oh, Eric Perpignani saying hi from Switzerland. Hello. Yeah, Wendyverse, hi, Mr. Hilt. Good to see you. Says yes means no. Get a nice private island for like 11 million with power plant, roads, hotel. Oh, that's nice. Totally do that. What's up, Humdog? How's it going? Fam? Humdog actually knows my aunt, my uncle's ex-wife. I think they're married now.
Oh.
Yeah. So she goes. He's. I did a video on one of his Medium articles one day, and his wife or my I guess my ex-aunt, my aunt or whatever, she goes and is like, oh, is that Randy? I knew him since he was a baby. He's like, what? How do you know Randy? Like, how do you know Randy? So that was fun.
Also, if anyone else likes this video, you're getting banned instantly because we have 69 likes right now, and I will not approve of that. So,
Foster, you are the brand. Adam also said to go with OMI.
Someone did it. God,
Adam says I'd go with OMI. Obvious financial advice. Oh, there's Dan Chavez.
Yeah, he popped in. Yeah.
And yeah, Humdog is like, yo, that was a trip, bro. I know, right? So yeah, this is it. We got to bounce. We got a lot of stuff to do. Everyone, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comment is good for the YouTube algorithm. I love you guys. Goodbye. You need a catchphrase. You know what Eva's is from Viviverse? Hers is, don't you ever end this video without smashing that like button or something like that. I don't know, because her name's Eva. So don't you ever. You need a catchphrase.
It's a lot of pressure.
Oh, okay. Well, what are some of Gandalf's like?
See you later.
That is like, you'd be like a good old boy now.
Bye, everybody.
All right, we're gonna.
We'll think of it. We'll prep it for the next one,
guys.
guys.
Goodbye.